Hayley Mills really truly hated him more than anybody else. Let me tell you about Hayley Mills. She was born with the full name Hayley Catherine Rose Vivian Mills on April 18, 1946, in London, England. Her family was already super famous in acting and performing. Her dad, Sir John Mills, was one of the most respected actors in all of Britain. Her mom, Mary Hayley Bell, wrote plays and books. Pretty cool, right? Growing up, Hayley was surrounded by the magic of movies and theater from the time she was tiny. Her house was always full of actors, writers, and creative people. All these interesting visitors helped shape how curious and imaginative she became. At first, Hayley didn't even want to be an actress. But life had different plans for her. Her natural charm and the way she expressed herself soon pulled her toward acting on the big screen. Hayley's career started almost like an accident. When she was only 12 years old, she got cast in a 1959 movie called Tiger Bay. She acted alongside her own father in this film. She played a brave young girl who becomes friends with someone running from the law. People who watched the movie couldn't stop talking about how amazing she was. What really impressed everyone wasn't just that she was talented for her age. It was that her emotions felt completely real. She didn't act like those typical child stars who just say their lines perfectly like robots. Instead, she brought something natural and innocent that felt totally genuine and true. Her performance won her a BAFTA award for being the most promising new actor. This was just the beginning of an incredible career that would last for many, many years. Not long after that, Hayley's entire life changed forever when Walt Disney himself noticed how talented she was. Disney chose her to star in a movie called Pollyanna in 1960. This role made her famous all around the entire world. The film was based on a beloved book by Eleanor H. Porter. It told the story of a cheerful orphan girl who changes the hearts of every single person she meets. Hayley's bright, glowing smile and genuine performance captured the hearts of audiences everywhere on the planet. She even earned a special Juvenile Academy Award, which is a rare honor. This award put her right up there with the greatest young actors of her time. She quickly became the perfect symbol of innocence, hope, and youthful honesty. She represented everything Disney stood for during the early 1960s. Her success kept going strong with another Disney classic movie called The Parent Trap in 1961. In this film, she famously played two roles at the same time, twin sisters who were separated when they were babies. The movie was technically really complicated because she had to act against herself in tons and tons of scenes. That's a huge challenge, but she handled it with amazing skill, especially for someone so young. The film was a huge hit with both critics and regular moviegoers. It made Hayley's place as one of Hollywood's most loved young stars totally solid and secure. Over the next several years, she appeared in lots of successful films. She was In Search of the Castaways in 1962, Summer Magic in 1963, The Moon Spinners in 1964, and That Darn Cat in 1965. Each role showed off how versatile and warm she was as an actress. Audiences literally grew up watching her change from a child actress into a more mature performer right before their eyes. By the late 1960s, Hayley wanted to redefine herself and be seen as more than just her Disney image. Her role in a movie called The Family Way in 1966 marked a big, important turning point in her career. She played a newlywed woman struggling to figure out adult life and personal relationships. The film was directed by Roy Bolting, who would later become her husband. This was both a professional milestone and a personal one for her. Their relationship caused a lot of controversy because of how different their ages were. But it was deeply important in Hayley's life and shaped how she thought about love, independence, and her career choices. The couple got married in 1971 and had one son, together named Crispian Mills. Crispian would later become famous himself as the lead singer and guitarist of a band called Kula Shaker. As the years went by, Hayley kept working in movies, television, and theater. She took on many different kinds of roles that showed her growth as an actress and as a woman. She appeared in The Kingfisher Caper in 1975, The Flame Trees of Thika in 1981, and a long-running British TV series called Wild at Heart from 2007 to 2012. In theater, She got lots of praise from critics for her performances in shows like The King and I, Dial M for Murder, and Pride and Prejudice. These later roles let her explore more complicated emotional feelings and situations. This proved that her talent wasn't just about her early fame when she was young. Instead, her talent actually got deeper and richer with age and experience. In 1966, while filming The Family Way, 20-year-old Hayley Mills met the film's director, Roy Bolting, who was 53 years old. That's a 33-year age difference. The relationship between the young actress, who was still seen by most people as Disney's golden girl, and the much older, experienced filmmaker immediately got public attention. It caused a lot of controversy and arguments. Mills had grown up under the spotlight as the daughter of the famous British actor Sir John Mills and playwright Mary Hayley Bell. Many people still saw her as the innocent child star from Pollyanna and The Parent Trap. So her romance with a man more than 3 decades older than her shocked both the media and her fans big time. Despite all the people watching and judging them, Mills was really attracted to Bolting's intelligence, his sophistication, and his experience making movies. He was captivated by her youthful energy, her natural charm, and how she was maturing as both an actress and a woman. Their relationship started kind of like a teacher-student thing, but it quickly grew into something much deeper and more personal. It lasted through the second half of the 1960s. After several years together, Hayley Mills and Roy Bolting got married in 1971. This made official what had been one of the most talked-about relationships in the British film industry. The couple created a home life that showed both their artistic personalities and their shared love of privacy and quiet. They owned an apartment in London's fashionable Chelsea neighborhood, which was an area that had long been popular with writers, musicians, and painters. They also bought Cobstone Windmill in Ibstone, Buckinghamshire. This was a beautiful 19th-century windmill that became one of their most special and cherished homes. The property was surrounded by the rolling Chiltern Hills and gave them a quiet escape from the crazy, intense entertainment world. The windmill later became famous when it was used as the home of Caractacus pots in the beloved film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Even though the couple eventually sold the windmill, it stayed as one of the most lasting symbols of their life together during the 1970s. In 1973, Hayley and Roy had their only child together, a son named Crispian Mills. From the time he was really young, Crispian showed the same creative spark that ran deep in both sides of his family. As the years went by, he found his own artistic path. But it wasn't in acting or making movies like his parents and grandfather. Instead, he went into music. He became the lead singer and guitarist for a British rock band called Kula Shaker. The band got international fame in the 1990s for mixing psychedelic rock music with Indian spiritual influences. Crispian's success in the music world continued. The Mills family tradition of artistic achievement while also creating a totally different and distinct identity for himself, even though Hayley was proud of her son's accomplishments. Her marriage to Bolting wasn't meant to last forever. The big age gap between them and the pressures of having 2 demanding careers took their toll on the relationship. The couple got divorced in 1977 after being married for 6 years. Still, they stayed connected through their shared love for their son. After her divorce, Hayley Mills started another important relationship, this time with an actor named Lee Lawson. The two met in the mid-1970s and shared a warm and passionate partnership. This relationship showed Mills's more independent phase of life. In July 1976, Mills gave birth to her second son, Jason Lawson. During this time period, Hayley was trying to balance being a mother with keeping up a career that had started when she was barely out of childhood herself. Her relationship with Lawson was filled with love and mutual respect. But like many relationships formed under the pressures and stress of show business, it eventually started to fall apart. By the early 1980s, Mills and Lawson had gone their separate ways, but they still shared a deep bond as parents and as artists. In the years after that, Hayley Mills focused on her acting career with fresh energy and determination. She worked on stage and on screen while also raising her 2 sons. Then in 1997, she started the most lasting and fulfilling relationship of her later life. While touring with a stage production of The King and I, Mills met an actor and writer named Ferdous Bamji. He played opposite her in the lead roles. Even though they had a 20-year age difference, the two quickly developed a strong connection. Their connection was based on mutual admiration, intellect, and a shared passion for art. Bamji was born in India and raised in Bahrain before moving to the United States. He brought a worldly and thoughtful quality to their relationship. Their shared love of theater and storytelling made their bond deeper, both on stage and off stage in their personal life. Since 1997, Mills and Bamji have stayed together, supporting each other's creative projects and living a quiet, happy life away from the constant spotlight and attention of the media. Their relationship, which continues even now in 2025, shows Mills's personal growth and evolution. She went from being a child star shaped by other people's expectations to becoming a woman who lives and loves on her own terms, making her own choices. Through her marriages, relationships, and motherhood, Hayley Mills has shown resilience, emotional depth, and a strong sense of independence. These qualities have come to define her both as an actress and as a person. For decades, fans of The Parent Trap from 1961 have loved the warm, funny chemistry between Hayley Mills and Brian Keith. Brian Keith played her on-screen father, Mitch Evers. Their performances made audiences believe they shared a real, genuine father-daughter bond off-screen too. But behind the scenes, the truth was way more complicated and difficult. In later interviews, Hayley Mills opened up about her early years in Hollywood. She revealed some surprising and shocking feelings toward Keith. What audiences saw as affection was actually the result of professional discipline and hard work, plus a personal clash that left a lasting impression on the young actress. Brian was tough. Really, really tough, Mills remembered. I was only a teenager when we made The Parent Trap, and I'd been used to a very gentle kind of direction from people like my father, Sir John Mills, and Walt Disney himself. But Brian had a temper, and he didn't soften it or hold back just because I was a child. He could be very scary and intimidating. Mills remembered that Keith, who was in his late 30s at the time, approached acting with a rough, tough, masculine intensity that sometimes frightened her. He was very much the alpha male type, she explained. He didn't like mistakes at all, and if a scene wasn't working right, he'd let everyone know it. Loudly. I was so young and sensitive at the time that I took it all personally. I thought he didn't like me or that I was somehow disappointing him and letting him down. On the movie set, the contrast between Mills's youthful enthusiasm and excitement and Keith's grizzled, serious attitude often led to tension and conflict. There was one day when I couldn't get a line right, Mills admitted. Brian slammed his hand hard on the table and muttered something angry under his breath. I just froze completely. I remember thinking, I hate him. I absolutely hate him. It wasn't that I really hated him as a person deep down. It was that I was scared, humiliated, and embarrassed, and I didn't know how to process or deal with those feelings. But in that exact moment, yes, I hated him more than anyone I'd ever met in my entire life. Despite those emotional and upsetting moments, Mills later realized and recognized that Keith's behavior came from his own sense of professionalism and wanting to do good work. As I got older and more mature, I realized he was under enormous pressure too. Brian wasn't trying to be cruel or mean on purpose. He just wanted the work to be good and high quality. He'd come from a completely different world. Tough television work, westerns, war movies, where you didn't baby or coddle people. You just got on with it and did the job. Still, the memory of those early clashes and conflicts stayed with her for many years. I used to dread certain scenes because I knew he'd expect me to be perfect and flawless, Mills said. I felt like I was constantly walking on eggshells, super careful about everything I did. He wasn't like Walt Disney, who would always find a kind, gentle way to correct you and help you improve. Brian would bark like an angry dog, and that bark stayed with me echoing in my head for a long, long time. Ironically and strangely enough, their on-screen rapport and chemistry made audiences believe the two shared a special friendship in real life. That's the magic and illusion of acting, Mills laughed years later when looking back. People saw love and warmth between us, and in some ways it was there, buried deep under all the tension and difficulty. He did care about me as a person, but he had a really hard time showing it in a way I could understand. After filming ended and wrapped up, Mills admitted she was relieved and happy to move on to other things. When The Parent Trap wrapped, I remember feeling like I could finally breathe again and relax. I didn't have to worry constantly about his moods or his sharp, cutting tongue anymore. But looking back now as an adult, I can see how much I actually learned from him. He taught me about discipline, about commitment and dedication, and about the importance of getting things right and doing quality work. Time softened and changed Mills's view of her co-star over the years. In her later years, she even spoke with affection and fondness for Keith, who died and passed away in 1997. When I heard he had passed away, I cried, she confessed, and admitted. I didn't expect to cry, but I did. I realized that underneath that gruff, rough exterior was a man who truly loved his craft and his work. And in his own strange, unusual way, he probably loved me too, though neither of us could have admitted that truth back then when we were working together. Today, when fans bring up The Parent Trap and want to talk about it, Mills acknowledges and admits that her youthful resentment and anger toward Brian Keith has transformed and changed into gratitude and appreciation. "He terrified me and made me scared," she said honestly. "But he also helped make me a better, stronger actress. I think sometimes the people who challenge us the most and push us the hardest are the ones who shape us the most deeply and profoundly." In the end, Hayley Mills's honest and candid reflections reveal and show a more complex truth about Hollywood's golden, perfect image. The young girl who once truly hated him more than anyone else eventually came to see her old co-star not as a villain or bad guy, but as a mentor in disguise. He was someone whose rough, tough lessons helped her become the resilient, strong, mature performer the world would continue to admire and love for many decades to come.